Hi everybody, I'm going to do a little video and I'm going to use the word foundation piecing, which might send some of you running to the hills and saying no, we don't want to listen to this one. But it's not foundation piecing as when we've done with the likes of Mariner's Compass or anything like that. I want to show you how you can do some simple blocks but by using a foundation base, and it's used in lots of different patterns, and for some people it is their technique, that's what they do. So we're not adding 1/4 inches or anything like that with this. It's purely we're just sewing using a foundation. So all I've done this morning is I've just made myself a square of fabric. It's about 12.5 inches wide, and I've folded it into quarters and I've pressed it so I can see where my centre is. Now I'm going to do a very simple log cabin, and some people do this foundation base like this. So have a go, see what you think. Now you could also do it with a piece of wadding behind, and then you're quilting each piece into place at the same time. So that's another idea, and I know we've talked about that perhaps for making bags. So what I've done, this is my hearth square, and I'm going to position that on the centre. So it's in the middle of my piece, but don't worry too much about where it is. Now I'm going to sew this into place right sides up. So there's only one piece of fabric, it's right side up and it's sitting on here. Now I've got my 1/4 inch foot on, but I've moved my needle across so it's a scant 1/4 inch, and there's a reason for that. So I'm just going to go quickly. I'm just going to sew two sides. Now you could go all the way round, and this is just to hold this piece in place. Right, so that's just holding that in place. You could spray glue it into place if you didn't want to do that. You could just put some pins in, but I've just done it so that while I'm talking it's not going to move around. Now what I've done, I've cut a whole pile of strips just out of my scrap box. I've cut these all 2 inches wide, but they could be any width that you want. In fact, that one's only 1.5 inches because I'm going to make this a scrappy log cabin. So first thing we've done, taken one strip. Now I'm going to put right sides together. I'll do it on that top one. So it's right sides together, and I'm going to sew along that edge. So I'm sewing through the foundation piece, the whole square, so I've sewn all the way through, and then what I'll do is I've got a little pressing mat here, you won't be able to see this bit, press that up. So I've pressed it up into place. Now obviously it's too long, so you could measure that and cut it to the right size if you want, but I'm doing this really scrappy, so I'm just going to trim that there. So now follow the log cabin rules and just go around. Now again, if you wanted to, you could cut your pieces to the correct length. I might just do this slightly longer than it needs to be. So again, put right sides together, and whichever way you're going to go around your log cabin, keep going. So I'm going clockwise, which makes sense to me. Press that back. So I got a wool pressing mat for my birthday last year from a lovely friend, and it's so handy. So there's piece number 2 in place. So piece number 3 is going to go along here and all the way around. Now because I know that foundation square is 12.5 inches, I know that that's the finished size that I want for a block or whatever I'm going to use with it. So I can just keep going round and round until I'm there. Now, if this was on wadding as well, what I might find at this stage is I'm sewing through my foundation piece and my wadding. I could add a little bit of quilting at this stage, which is quite a good idea to do. And if not, just keep going. So I'll get on with this. You have a slurp of coffee.